We're all a little depraved and debaucherous. Here is the king of podcasts.
And for those of you listening to the program tonight, I want to wish all of you ladies out there a very happy Valentine's Day as you listen to this program. Happy Valentine's Day to all of you out there, single, depraved, and debaucherous listeners out there like myself. Or maybe you do, or you're dating, or you're in a relationship and you're catching this while you're on the way to your date. Or, you're waiting for someone to go and call you back and say, hey, let's go out for Valentine's Day. Something like that. Interesting program tonight. Because one of the very first times I've done a program where I decided, well, I got some feedback. One of the episodes I did, last week's episode, as a matter of fact, hit a windfall. It got a couple thousand views. That's more than my normal take. Okay, if I'm lucky and get a couple hundred views on YouTube, that's a good thing. But this one hit. This hit a nerve, and it got some comments, and some good comments at that, so I wanted to go ahead and take that. I also got some comments from the interview I did with the certified professional matchmaker, Julia McCauley. I'll take that as well. I just figured, let's go and put a couple of these together, and let's make it a show. But before I go and do that, Valentine's Day is here, and I've never been the biggest fan of it. Listen, I did do a thing right now where, I got a few places where I talk to different women. They're either online, virtually, or maybe in person. And I'll have Snapchat, Telegram, WhatsApp, and all these other places that I've met women either online through dating apps or sugar dating apps or whatever that are out there. And I, reach out. I put that across. So I just put out a couple of Happy Valentine's Day messages out there. Yeah, just to be nice. I guess it's just being a good deed. There's nothing to it, right? Just a sentiment. And for those that might be single that I might know, I figured I should at least go ahead and do that. And, this program's out there to go ahead and accompany all of you out there like myself. Listen, I don't have a Valentine's for myself. I mean, if I could say I do virtually, but no, not really. Like, I'm not going anywhere for Valentine's Day. You know what I'm going to do tomorrow for Valentine's Day? Except for maybe some work for my full time. Probably go Uber some people that are going to be out and about for Valentine's Day. That might be what I will do. Other than that, not much else. I'm not going to go to the movies. I could go see, Bob Marley and One Love, but I'll wait until next week to watch it because I need something to watch in the theater. And the movies I'm going to go watch on Friday and Saturday. Nothing this week. Nothing on Wednesday night. And for those of you that used to think, the thought process used to be out there. Okay, Tom Likas used to talk about this. That guy, she should go out on Valentine's Day because this is the best possible night to hook up with a chick and score. No, it's not. I used to believe that. But then what happened was that I went out and I would go ahead and, hey, let's see what happens. No, it never went like it was. It was never that way. I would go to the bars, go to the clubs, no matter what night there is, and just go out and see who there is. The truth is you see less women out and about unless they are with someone or they're with others. Okay? Women do not go out alone, and they're not going to go out and have a random drink or have tequila shots, and they're going to just sit there and drip tears into their glass. That doesn't happen. That is make-believe. That is fantasy. Doesn't happen. So if any of you guys think that's going to happen, no. If you were going to have something to happen for Valentine's Day, it would have happened months ago. Okay? And for those of you women out there, and those of you guys out there, you remember me back in October, I talked about cuffing season, right? Where in that time of year, where men and women will go ahead and meet up, usually women will go ahead and try to meet up with a guy when the leaves are changing. The weather gets a little bit colder outside. And it's just that change where the summertime just gets you rekindling the idea of, I want somebody to go ahead and nuzzle up to, during the holidays. I want somebody around for Halloween to be at the party, right? I want somebody to take me to their Thanksgiving dinner tradition. I want someone to go and buy me presents for Christmas. I want someone to kiss me on the ears and take me out to a great party. Or take me out to dinner on Valentine's Day. And treat me like the queen. Give me the candy, give me the chocolates, give me the flowers, give me the whole nine. For women, this is a day that you feel this is your day. And for some bad couples, bad relationships, this is the day that's required for the guy to step up and actually act like you did when he first dated you. And for those of you guys out there that think you have to go and do that, I seriously tell you, don't do this. It's a mistake. Okay. If you cannot, in full conscience, understand that when you are in a relationship with someone that you're in love with, and you can't make that woman feel like it's Valentine's Day every day, what's wrong? Valentine's Day, for the most part, is a greeting card holiday. Okay? It is very much materialized, just like Christmas. Right? It's what it is. Just like Halloween. Very commercialized. And of course, people are going to take advantage of that. So for those guys out there that feel like, well, I need to go and make sure to get my hands on some flowers and some other things, like, yeah, you want to do that, go right ahead. But it doesn't look good on you to do all that. Right? Just saying. But for those guys out there that feel like that's what they need to go and do, okay, go right ahead. I understand. But it shouldn't be that way. It should not be that way. But I understand that those kind of things happen, and there's not much you can do about it. So I see that happening, and I say to myself, okay, why do people not in the relationships and fully invest themselves with somebody? Me as a chronically single guy for 30 plus years, okay, maybe I don't understand, but I don't want to go into that. So this is where I'm at in the point of being depraved and debaucherous. Talk about the subjects that we talk about. And I'll tell you, for those of you that listen on this YouTube channel, thank you so much for listening. I really do appreciate it. And also for those that have been adding on to the subscriber list, what a growth right now. I love it. It's, I'm trying to get to 500 subscribers. I hope to get there soon. Please pass the word along. YouTube.com @King of Podcasts. I would love that. Or @King of Podcasts. It would be greatly appreciated. And also the website itself, kingofpodcasts.com. I redesigned it, put some other things in there. You have all the possible social media avenues that you need me for: LinkedIn, YouTube, Threads, Instagram, all those. If you like to go and follow along and comment. And also, if you love to give feedback, then guess what? I will take feedback and I will listen to it. And I will definitely bring it out there. So when there are occasional pieces of feedback that comes in, some comments, I will take those and I'll talk about them. And tonight, we're going to do that. We got some great comments. Let's get right into it. Okay, so first of all, last week, I presented an episode, which was the psychology of sugar daddies, sugar babies, and sugar dating. And that really did get some people up and at it. People were really willing to go and talk about it. They wanted to go ahead and get into it. So we did. And I talked about this story. And here's what I wrote. And I'm going to just reiterate what we have right here real quickly. And then we'll move along. Now, so a recent study was in the Journal of Sex Research into the world of sugar dating, shedding light on the motivations, benefits, and challenges and nuanced power dynamics involved in these relationships. And it was conducted by a clinical PhD psychology student at University of Texas at Austin. 77 participants, 45 women, 31 men, 1 non-binary individual. And they wanted to explore power dynamics, gender roles, stigma associated with sugar dating, and conduct content analysis based on qualitative responses to identify key themes. Average sugar baby, 28.76 years old. Average sugar daddy, 48.15 years old. Sugar babies engage in 4 arrangements on average. Over 1/3 of sugar babies have a history of transactional sex work. So formerly escorts or strippers or prostitutes, right? Or friends with benefits, quietly on the hush. Sugar daddies report a higher average number of arrangements, over 6, many having engaged in various forms of transactional sexual relationships. So part of it is in that, right? About a good third are saying. Now, into the comments that we got. First of all, JLove3487, he writes, sugar daddy dating is for the ultra wealthy. For the rest of us, it's just a bunch of run-through escorts. And I should start from the other way around because it started actually, that's the most recent comment, but here is the first one. Diesel Andy 1812, he writes, I wouldn't spend 1 second typing a date proposal to a woman. Already showing signs of high maintenance, and only desperate seeming guys would take the extra time for that. Now, on that part, I would say, okay, if you are at the point where you definitely want to go ahead and not act like, you're high and mighty to what's going on here, and that you're so far above ever trying to go ahead and get into responding to a woman on a sugar dating site. Right. I understand that. And also typing a date proposal to a woman. Now, that was a story that came out from a lady that was on, I think it was on Hinge, says that she wants guys to email her a date proposal. And that was the part that he's absolutely right about. I agree. I would never do that. But it was a very good bait story, right? A good troll story. Ellie Evie writes, "It is true. It is my experience that most men will wait. The most men will wait is 6 months." Now, I'm not necessarily sure where that's coming from and what the whole comment was about, but it's the idea that, most men will wait is 6 months. Right. So in a relationship, if you're trying to wait for something to get somewhere, I guess that is the whole idea of what they're trying to talk about. He goes on to say that my experience with sugar daddies is that is dating with boundaries. The first thing, there are no expectations, but I like to have a connection if I will take your money. Now, okay, let me make sure I get this right. This is somebody that is a sugar baby. This young lady here is, in fact, a sugar baby. Okay. Now, we don't know anything about her. We just know she goes by Gigi on her YouTube page. But either which way, she has been able to go ahead and have the wherewithal to go ahead and stop any possibility of guys to make it into a sexual transactional relationship. As a sugar baby, she can get a sugar daddy to hold off as long as he wants. So here's what she's saying again. My experience with sugar daddies is that it is dating with boundaries. The first thing, there are no expectations, but I like to have a connection if I will take your money. If I don't have a connection, I respectfully decline an arrangement. So unless she feels good about being with you, she will not expect anything in return because she'll just drop out. Overall, my experiences have been great. I've never had to sleep with anyone and simply dated plus got gifts. I've noticed that when feelings start, I tend to leave because commitment scares me due to cheating by my ex-boyfriend when I was in my early 20s. The reason she got into this is because there's no trust in relationships. And because the guy obviously was toxic or, again, cheating on her, threw her right off of ever wanting to be in another relationship or in the meantime. And because of this experience now in sugar dating, and that she can get the kind of experience and lifestyle and have her maintenance and their status and, her upkeep handled and taken care of without having to sleep with anyone, she'll do that. And she prefers that, it looks like. All right. And then someone else writes back, Savleen Sewer 8670 says, why can't you make money other ways? Look, there's a lot of women that go ahead and they feel like they can go ahead and be taken care of. They don't necessarily need to be having a job. It's the same way where women that are married and in traditional relationships, or they're traditionally mothers, there's a thought process that, well, they're not necessarily doing any kind of job except just keeping a home and taking care of the children. But it's not really a job. But the idea is that, some women are able to go and use their pretty privilege to go ahead and be able to get what they want out of this. And they don't have to worry about, the idea of thinking that someone's going to go ahead and come in and she's going to be worried about that, And remember, I talked about the quotes from Esther Villar, author of The Manipulated Man. And we talked about this before. Now, here is what she says about women when it comes to young women. And this is really what comes down to the sugar baby thing. Because the guys that are looking for women as a sugar baby, they're looking for young, attractive women. Now, here's what's going on. Esther Villar writes this, quote, women have preserved this baby look for as long as possible so as to make the world continue to believe in the darling, sweet little girl she once was. And she relies on the protective instinct in man to make him take care of her. As with everything a woman undertakes on her own initiative, this whole maneuver is as incredible as it is stupid. This is her writing this. It is amazing the fact that it succeeds. It would appear very short-sighted to encourage such an ideal of beauty. For how can any woman hope to maintain it beyond the age of 25, despite every trick of the cosmetics industry, despite magazine advice against thinking or laughing? Her actual age will inevitably show through in the end. And what on earth is a man to do with a grown-up face when he has been manipulated into considering only helpless, appealing little girls to be creatures of beauty? Because we all get caught up in that whole, rescuing the damsel in distress kind of fantasy, right? What is a man to do with a woman with the smooth curves have become flabby tires of flesh, the skin slacked and pallid, when the childish tones have grown shrill and the laughter sounds like neighing? What is to become of this shrew when her face no longer atones for her ceaseless inanities, and when the cries of ooh and ah begin to drive him out of his mind? This mummified child will never fire a man's erotic fantasy again. One might think her power broken at last. And then, but remember, for some women, even when they are moving on into motherhood and they have a family and they're able to go and stay at home, they bring up the fact of here. She still manages to get her own way, and for two reasons. The first is obvious. She now has children who enable her to continue feigning helplessness, and there are simply not enough young women to go around. It is a safe bet, given the choice, man would trade up in his grown-up child wife for a younger model. But as the ratio between the sexes is roughly equal, not every man can have a younger woman. And as he has to have a wife of some sort, he prefers to keep the one he already possesses. This is easy to prove. Given the choice, a man will always choose a younger woman. Bingo. Now, the thing is that we're not worrying about men and women going through marriages as much as anymore. But in these arrangements, it's the same idea. A guy will then trade up for a younger model. And for a young lady like Gigi right here, if she is able to go ahead and live the lifestyle she wants and have somebody take care of her and look after her and look after her needs, and she doesn't have to, lift a finger at all, she just has to sit there and look pretty, then who am I and who is anybody else to go and say no to them and stop them from doing it? But if a woman feels like that they only have to go and do that from now on and don't have to think about anything else, there's a problem. That's a big problem. Now, moving along into the story, she goes along and writes, this is another person that writes here. This is a longer response. This is the other comment I got on this video. D. Canes 5270. This is a man's point of view. Okay. He says, quote, I have never done the sugar baby thing. Oh, no, this is a female. All right, excuse me. Hold on. Because you mentioned women. All right, this is the point. Okay. I am a female engineer, so don't need the money, and I don't like the power dynamic. However, these women don't owe these men shit. Not sex, nothing. Let's not forget that each party is selfish, ugly, superficial, and gross, and are specifically out to use another person. So if the woman wants to take and give nothing, then he should do it if she can get away with it. If the man doesn't give money, he is free not to. They can both move on. Remember, if either of these entities were decent people, the men wouldn't be cheating on their wives and the girls would be on normal dating sites. All right. But remember, it's like there's a lot of things that happen where we shouldn't be on dating sites in the first place because, until 30 years ago, we didn't need dating sites. I mean, even the thought of using classified ads, we didn't even need that either. But we did. The thing is, there was a long time where people just met each other. You could just go out and meet somebody, and hey, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But we don't have that now, and that's upsetting to see that. But look at where we are now. This is all caught up in this whole happenstance of okay, this lady here that wrote this comment, listen, she's not holding back punches, and she's pretty cynical in her thoughts of the whole sugar daddy thing anyway. So she says she's never done it and doesn't need the money and doesn't like the power dynamic. But the way she puts it is, this is the worst case scenario of the relationships here. Now, I'm going to say this is not the norm, but this is the worst case scenario of a sugar daddy, sugar baby relationship, or even just trying to make this happen. So she assumes that every guy on here, or each party, is selfish, ugly, probably ugly on the inside. Because how many times are women that our sugar baby is usually unattractive. They're not. They're very rare. Doesn't happen that much. And gross is a pretty strong word. But she goes on to write, now, so if the woman wants to take and give nothing, then she should do it if she can get away with it. Yeah. Listen, if guys are becoming simps and are not paying attention to the fact of this dynamic, they're meeting women on these sites, but yet they're just going to get run over and they're not getting anything from it. No, that can't be done. Guys have to be smarter about that. It's got to be a benefit. You know, it's like an investment. There's got to be some benefit to you. And it's not validation. It's not adulation. It's got to be something more, something that actually matters. And if a man doesn't give money, he is free not to. They can both move on. The other thing, the thought process is that the guys that are on these sugar daddy sites are guys that would cheat on their wives, and the girls would be on normal dating sites. But see, there are people that come into this space from different aspects. There are plenty single guys that are not in relationships or were divorced or whatever there is, and they just moved on, and they just don't want to get back into somebody. And maybe they weren't the type that were cheating on anyone. I mean, I understand the thought process of that, but I don't think the kind of guys that are mostly sugar daddies are usually cheating. But the thing is, too, is that for D. Kane's 5270, you got to keep in mind this. 5720, excuse me. You have to keep in mind that the guys out here, they're not going to cheat on the sugar babies. They're putting the money into it, and they're finding somebody that they would probably cheat on their ex or their current fling or whatever. They would opt up for the sugar baby because of who she is. That's the thing. We're trying to get what we want, and it's not the normal way, the normal means to do it, but that's the thought process. All right. So that's what we got from the psychology of sugar daddies and the listeners reacting to it. Interesting takes. And if there's more to it, I'd love to go and continue to talk about it. But it's a pretty good way to go ahead and point that out. I like the commentary. And I'd love to go and do more listener react episodes like this to go ahead and bring up more of these kind of things. Now, as for the Julia McCurley episode, that got some comments. So, Julia McCurley was not a fan of Living on Cash. And I'm not sure who Living on Cash is, but, he goes by Mystery Meat. But again, we don't know anything about this person either, just kind of in the background. But anyway, Julia goes on and makes her points. You remember hearing about that. First of all, he complains about the audio in this video is terrible. Okay, well, she was on a phone call. She was on a regular phone, couldn't get the Zoom call to work. So to be able to get the recording done, I had her on a phone. But then I also did some adjustments to make it sound a little bit better. So, hey, it wasn't perfect. Okay, but you could hear what she was saying. Now, here's what she says about flirting, because I brought up the idea of flirting and that we should get back to flirting again. And this is what Living on Cash says, quote, flirting only works for guys if they are attractive, otherwise you are labeled a creep. Well, okay, today, that's more than accurate more often. I will give you that, because right now we're at the point where flirting used to work. And I told the fact it's like, you could probably get back to flirting and you get back into the dating game with a girl if you qualify her. You got to be able to see if she's amenable to it, if she's down for it, if she's the kind of woman that is not so uptight or sensitive or easily triggered. Like, you really have to go through and find out if a woman is the kind that is attracted to you or feels like she'll go along, and the flirting can go along, because flirting is part of the dating game. That's part of the thing we all do to try to move ourselves forward. So he goes on to say, quote, it's funny that you say women are emotionally damaged by chads. Okay, she said chads. But yes, there are women that are emotionally damaged by, women are emotionally damaged. There are quite a few. If they're on the dating sites, they must be. I mean, how many women do we know that, if they're on a dating site, listen, if they were out and about in person and they were emotionally healthy, they would be picked up in person, no question. And a woman would feel comfortable, at least with the option or entertaining a guy that is trying to go ahead and talk her up. But when you don't have that and you're wanting to sit behind a paywall of a dating site or just behind a site, then that is something where there's a boundary that's being put extra in place because a woman doesn't want to give up that boundary. She's not going to just leave herself out there in the open. I understand that part. I'm not saying anything wrong with emotional damage. I'm not saying I don't like the fact that it's done, but there's enough going on where guys and girls are not getting raised the right way to see, how relationships work in the first place. Sometimes they're in broken, they're in single family homes and they don't know any better. These are the kind of things we have to worry about. Okay. So back to this comment. It's funny that you say women are emotionally damaged by chads, yet you didn't say anything about how men are damaged by constant rejection from women. No, I reject that. Because guys are supposed to learn from that. Okay, for a guy to be rejected, you got to take it as a badge of honor. You got to realize you're supposed to learn. We're not supposed to understand women right away. And our logic as men is not going to match with a woman's emotional intelligence. You actually have to learn that. It's not something you learn overnight. You might learn it because you might have, a mother that was nurturing, or you have sisters or, cousins or whatever, females that are around you in your family, and you get to understand how to bond, how to connect. And the way you communicate with them is exactly how you communicate with the women that you're trying to meet up with. And listen, if a woman rejects you, they're instead of leading you along and taking you out for your money and whatever you want. Like, the thing is, you don't want a woman to say, "Oh yeah, I'll go out with you," and then just not, talk to you again. Because remember, these days we get a lot of guys that might not get rejected. They might go out on a date and nothing happens from it, but they'll just have spent money for nothing, or talk to a girl for a day, a week, 2 weeks, 2 months, 3 months, and they get ghosted all of a sudden, and they had never met. That kind of stuff happens all the time. Women should feel comfortable rejecting properly who they want to reject. Okay? Reject if you don't want somebody. And guys, take the rejection. Just move on. You're going to do better for that as a result. If that's really the way it is. Now, I think he was making a diss at Julia. I'm not sure. I think he meant, because I see that, I'm going to think he's saying dating coach, but he did say dating couch. Could he have been, could Living on Cash be on purpose trying to say dating couch, as if he saw the picture of Julia and said, "Oh, she, might not be the desirable girl for him." Okay. But I'll take it as dating coach. I'm going to take the high end. All right. I'll take the high road. Quote, "I'm amazed this dating coach didn't understand why the guy said he did not want to talk or contact the girl for a week after she freaked out about meeting his parents. She obviously isn't ready for that next step, he is wondering if she is really going to be a long-term relationship partner or not. If she can go a week without hearing from him and not miss him, then he knows she's just playing around, isn't that into him. Same thing for him." So one more time. The guy said he would not want to contact the girl for a week after she freaked out about him meeting his parents. You got to remember this too. There's always certain things that can happen that can always, whenever you think things are going well, there's always going to be some little thing, something that can always just completely just blow everything out of proportion. And then whatever happens, happens. But when you're in the start of a relationship, especially the initial part, there's nothing to lose. And that's the best attitude to have, is that you come into getting to know somebody and there's nothing to lose. Hey, they're here today, gone tomorrow. It's fine. There's always somebody else out there. And then most importantly, these days, we don't have to worry about, there's other fish in the sea, just keep pursuing. No, some people just don't care. Okay, then you know what? If nothing happens here, you're happy single. And that's probably fine too. Those kind of things happen all the time. Fascinating that we have all this content. I really appreciate all of you that have been getting into some of these episodes. The other episode that really did pan out well is when I talked about single women struggle to keep lifestyle while spiraling into debt. Obviously, these subjects are doing really well. We're going to continue these subjects going forward, and can't help it. We got to go and do it. Like, there's a lot more to discuss. But as soon as we find more information to go ahead and get out there, any more studies, things like that, any more feedback or comments, by the way, feel free to go ahead and add it into the comments of any feed, especially even in this episode tonight. Feel free to go ahead and add comments, and I will go and read them. Like, this is an episode I want to do. I'd love to get feedback and start doing stories like this where we're not necessarily into a topic. Like, I got topics to bring up. I actually pulled up a couple this week that I couldn't bring up. And, maybe I'll go ahead and bring up a few right now while I have a chance. We'll go a little longer than usual tonight. So, a couple of things I'll just going to ramble off real quick. There's one I have. You know what? I might hold on. Well, I'll bring this up real quick. Are you destined to be single and alone forever? Psychology Today puts this out there. They say that don't assume that you are destined to remain single or that singlehood means that you're unhappy or alone. You can feel much happier and more fulfilled remaining single than being attached to the wrong person. And then check whether specific behaviors or circumstances are keeping you from getting what you want. This was a story that was put out just in time for Valentine's Day by Dr. Bruce Y. Lee, and put that story out there. So I won't go much more into that. And then there's a story from Psychology Today about when to declare I am ready to be in a committed relationship. And interesting story. 5 signs to consider. When does your emotional connection depth meter show? Do you have the communication level for commitment? Are you in timing rhythm with each other? Does the effort put and match the commitment you desire? And can you handle long logistical challenges? If you have to think like this, I'm not even going to worry about this. It's too much to go and be declaring. It just kind of happens, doesn't it? Pretty much. Just saying. I don't know. There's a new dating app now called Score, and it's for people with excellent credit. Well, by the way, I have excellent credit. I have 800 credit. Good stuff for me. It seeks to help raise awareness about the importance of finances and relationships. It is being launched today it's been recently launched by financial platform Neon Money Club. So Neon Money Club was looking for a way to address credit health through a party that saw hundreds of people flood the streets of downtown Austin, Texas. As people lined up, the team considered what are these partygoers could make them feel comfortable talking about finances. And so they thought about Score and put that in there. And I'm going to see if there's any chance to get into this right now and see if I can get into this particular account to find out about it. I might be interested in this app. Let's see what happens with it, right? The pre-first date prenup story I saw in here as well from Forbes. And I'm like, what kind of story is this? So in the story, they say that, you've been flirting back and forth with someone you met on a dating app. It's been only a couple of days. You're only out with your friends on a Saturday, and casually check in on your new match to see what they're up to. So you create a group setting where the pressure of one-on-one interactions dissolves into the ease of collective camaraderie. 2 science-backed reasons why a pre-first date meetup is likely worth your time. 1, allows you to verify your new match. And 2, allows you to interact in a more natural setting. I've tried to do that before. But, you also don't want to bring somebody in there that people don't even know. And it's like, it could be making things very uncomfortable. But you don't really realize that that person is not someone that you want to have them meet your friends or anybody that you know. Like, that could be a bit tough to do. Just saying. And then there's another story that came out. There's a TV show in Britain that's going to be launching soon called Virgin Island. You will see a group of men and women being brought together for their erotic awakening. Oh boy. Virgins will make love for the first time under the guise of sex experts in a new TV series set on a tropical island. Interesting. I'm wondering what people are going to say about this and see if people are going to be into this story at all. So the show's going to be worked on, and they sign up enough virgins to go ahead and do this show. If this works well, I wouldn't be surprised if they have something like this go on over in America and we get this kind of story brought over. I'll probably watch it. Just saying. I wouldn't be surprised by it. Well, anyway, that's the show. That is your Valentine's Day edition of the program. And I appreciate all of you for checking into the program and being a part of this wonderful experience. Again, I want to go and wish each and every one of you a happy Valentine's Day. And I hope that things will work out well for all of you, and that you'll enjoy the chance and the company of somebody out there. If it's not in a relationship, and if it's not in any kind of, committed setting, if you got some friends with benefits of yours that you're kind of wearing together with, or, maybe you have somebody that you, on Valentine's Day, you say, you know what? I don't have anybody to be with, but I also don't want to be lonely. Maybe I'll just call this certain somebody. The certain somebody that will say, come on over, let's go and hang out for the night. Some of us a little bit depraved and debaucherous.